On this hectic and noisy downtown street,
It's not safe here.
growing apprehension,
A little bit of uneasiness, yes.
police calls on the rise. And for many, it makes Superior Street one to avoid.
I don't go out after dark.
Camped out here for days. We wanted to see for ourselves. On Uneasy Street, tonight on Eyewitness News at 10.
Big changes are happening in downtown Duluth. Not new developments or construction, but rather how people feel while they're out on the street. There is growing apprehension and, for some, fear. Our reporter Ellen Hoagland and photographer Destin Johnson spent several days there to get a first-hand look at what's happening and why in this special report, Uneasy Street.
An ambulance siren blares. A bus leaves its stop, and a coffee company brews a fresh cup. All sounds of a typical busy and bustling downtown street.
Don't play with everybody, man. You don't know motherfucker.
But on these two blocks,
All along Superior Street from Lake Avenue to 2nd.
the word typical just doesn't seem right.
What kind of feel do you get when you're down here outside?
Wow, it's scary.
Senses are heightened and apprehension is growing among businesses,
Kind of scary because you don't know what's going to happen.
their customers,
I don't go out after dark.
and the average Joe waiting to catch the bus.
Lots of, it can be sketchy business and stuff. Lots of people hiding in corners looking like, kind of up to no good.
But we wanted to see it for ourselves. So we hang out here on and off for more than a week. Several days and a boatload of quarters later, the stories make sense, and some are hard to believe.
People throwing up, defecating on the side of the street.
Dave Jopi co-owns Old Town Antiques and Books with his wife Carol. On the corner of Superior and First Avenue East, it's marked by this blue awning. And just outside the door,
Alcoholics are here. They're in the bus stop. They're throwing up, urinating in the bus stop.
among the half-dozen businesses we interviewed, there's agreement that the last place on earth and its sale of synthetic drugs is much of the reason for the behavior.
$22.98 on the bigger size.
But owner Jim Carlson says they're wrong.
A lot of the people that we spoke with, when they did speak with us about why they felt uneasy, they pointed at the last place. Is that an unfair judgment on their part?
Well, I think it is, I don't know why my people are making them feel any more uneasy than the liquor store or the bar.
Carlson points to alcohol and hard drugs as the reason for criminal activity and fear.
No matter what they're on, I get blamed for it.
But he admits heavy traffic here does draw people looking for a handout.
Panhandlers go where they can make the most money, where there's the most people, and I don't like them hanging out front.
It can be intimidating.
I don't want to be a statistic.
Rosalie Sullivan lives in Graceland and tells us she won't go out after dark.
People ask you for money and get hostile if you don't give them any.
We wanted to try measuring the problem. We obtained records of police calls to Superior and Michigan streets between Lake and 2nd Avenues East. Back in 2008, there were 80 police calls, January through March. By 2012, it jumped to more than 290. This year, 630.
7, 8, 9.
It was 2009 when Carlson says he started selling synthetic marijuana, but he says calls are up because police are out to make a case.
I think the bottom line is the police went to the neighbors and told them to call on any little thing.
Ordered by the court, Carlson pays for 2 officers to be present here from dawn until dusk, running him about 35 grand a month. We saw them in action, dealing with alleged drinking in public. On our second day shooting here, we witnessed this just behind our truck. One of the men tracked us down after police let him go with a ticket.
You got a cigarette?
I do not.
Let me have a cigarette. Maybe I'll feel better about talking to you.
He didn't want to talk at first, but later agreed. No cigarettes necessary.
Alcohol in public. Statute ordinance 822. Whatever that means.
And you would
He admitted to drinking on the street.
We did nothing wrong.
You don't think you did anything wrong?
No.
Why?
Because I took 3 shots off a bottle and walked down the street.
During our week here, we caught several arrests on camera. What we saw didn't surprise those who work downtown. Glassblower Dan Neff described fights, loitering, and people high on drugs or drunk.
A lot of intoxicated people. I call the cops at least once a month for someone who's too intoxicated to even stand.
And he says some refuse to leave.
But I've also had belligerent people come into the shop too, just tweaked out of their minds, and I've actually had to physically remove a few of them.
As business owners and police fight to remove these problems, there's a lot at stake. Downtown Duluth is a tourist destination where businesses and those who live and work are trying to thrive. To do that, they want to make sure Superior Street isn't one to avoid.
In Duluth, I'm Alan Hoagland for Eyewitness News.
Tonight on Eyewitness News at 10, Alan Hoagland reports on what police are doing to stop some of the behavior you saw there. He also explains why they and businesses insist it is a safe place.